What up and welcome back? I'm Jane, the plainest Jane, and I deliver syrup in the form of black news and celebrity updates. All right. Thank you all so much for being here, being a part of my audience and listening to not only my review, but my commentary. I'll give you the facts and I'll also tell you how I feel about any given situation. And we're talking about Wendy Williams, and Wendy Williams has definitely been a quote unquote hot topic for a little over a week now. But it's been something where Wendy has been in the news time and time again. Wendy had a whole segment of her show that was called Hot Topics that was about other A-list celebrities. And now here Wendy Williams is on this chopping block. And it's not really looking too good for her in a lot of different ways. So I want to get into talking about this, and I want to follow up, and I don't want to let go of this story. I want to give you my thoughts. I want to review the Wendy Williams documentary. There were two parts to it. Half of it released on Lifetime on Saturday, the other half released on Lifetime on Sunday. So there were 4 episodes. There was 1 and 2 for the first half and 3 and 4 for the second half. And I want to really tell you all how I felt about it, where I was coming from with it, what my perspective and understanding of it was. And I also wanted to open the phone lines to all of you and see how you all feel. So if you're awake, if you want to call in and tap into the show and let it be known how you feel, definitely make sure you have a good internet connection and you're ready to call in. But I'm going to get a couple of things off my chest. Listen, y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. And we're definitely going to get into all things Wendy Williams, the Wendy Williams documentary tonight. I was about to go to sleep. I can't even hold you. I was about to go to sleep, but I'm like, you know what? I owe it to my stickies, right? I owe it to my stickies. I owe it to the Pancake Posse. I've been covering Wendy Williams very faithfully, not only within the last week, but just in general, because she is a trailblazer, despite some of her personal decisions and how she decided to go at things as an individual compared to all of the the doors that she's broken down in a male dominated industry. Wendy Williams has always been someone that I have naturally been inclined interested in, right? And so this is why we're talking about Wendy Williams today. So listen, buckle your seatbelts. Drop a 2 in the chat if you've seen the documentary. Drop a 2 in the chat if you have seen the Wendy Williams documentary. Drop a 3 if you have not. This will help me understand where I'm coming from when I speak. Drop a 2 if you have seen it. Drop a 3 if you have not seen the documentary. I will say at the very least, the documentary was very heartbreaking. That's what I can say. I have a lot of things to say. I watched part 1 and I watched part 2. It was a very heartbreaking production, honestly. Definitely made me sad. 4 minutes in, I was like, excuse me? Excuse me. Is this what's happening with this lady's life? Like, are you serious? Like, honest to God, I was I was completely taken aback within the first 3 to 5 minutes. It was out of this world. It was out of this world, I tell you. So it was definitely something. So let me know how you feel about it. Let me know if I'm speaking to Leo. What you're not about to do is that. So yeah, I was completely taken aback by what I seen. And it really didn't change between part 1 and part 2. Wendy was in a really not coherent state throughout the entirety of this documentary. Her family is hell bent. Her niece, her sister, they're hell bent on telling us that she's in a better place now and that this was filmed prior, only time will tell, right? But let me know. A 2 in the chat if you have seen the documentary or even part of the documentary, and a 3 if you have not. It looks like I'm getting more 2s. Okay. All right. So I want to get into it. Listen, everybody, thank you all so much for being a part and coming aboard my bus. Y'all already know what time it is. When y'all come aboard my bus, all I ask is that y'all do is pay your goddamn fare. Your fare is hitting that like button. So drop some pancakes down below. Hit the like button while I let the intro play. The intro is a little less than 30 seconds. Hit the like button, drop some pancakes down below, and let's go ahead and get into this Wendy Williams review and open the phone lines for any of you who want to call in and let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the Wendy Williams documentary.
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some black, and she said, loves me some black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
All right. So we are here, and I want to get into talking about, and I really didn't want to use this imagery, but I felt like in order for me to really help you all understand the state that Wendy Williams is in, I had to use a couple of pictures that I just had to, right? So let me show you this one as well. Her eyes are bulging out of her. And so these are literally raw images that I snapped a picture of my actual television screen. Okay. So, and it's really sad to see Wendy Williams in this state. I totally understand. And I was talking about this backstage behind the paywall about how I felt like this was, it seemed a bit exploitative, even though Wendy Williams really wanted to get this out. She did. And please make sure you share this with somebody. Share this video. Take a second to make sure you subscribe to the channel and that you share this video with someone via social media, text message, Instagram, Facebook, your group chats, however it is you share videos. And people who care about Wendy Williams and who care to keep up with Wendy Williams, please make sure that you share this thing. But Wendy was incoherent, I would say 85% of the thing in its entirety. I was going to give a review on the first half and then a review on the second half. And I just decided to give one review on the documentary as a whole, right? She was not coherent. And I think one of the saddest parts, and this came out in part 2, is her dad is 92 years old, right? Wendy is 59 years old. And for Wendy to sit up next to her dad and to be talking, and her motor skills, she's not present in the moment with the conversations that she's having. And so to be 59, or to be any age, and to be talking to your dad, and for your dad to have more of a grip on what's happening and what's right now. There was a point in part 2 of the documentary where Wendy Williams was having a conversation with her father, and her father, you could see him processing how his baby girl, his daughter, Wendy Williams, was not like present with the moment. You could be having a conversation with her about Why train tracks run forward? And she's like, my name's Wendy, and my favorite color is blue. We're going to be on a boat tomorrow. Like, it was just so, to see her father processing that, and for her father to be 92 and for her to be 59, that was so hurtful, because it typically is the other way around, right? Like, you're typically watching your parent talk about, like, whatever it is that they can grip thought wise and speak about that. And for it to be the other way around, and to watch her father process, you could see him processing, like, wow, my baby girl is not in her right mind. Oh my gosh, it was so hurtful. It's a sad thing. So I'll do this. Listen. Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to all my subscribers. Shout out to all of my channel members. Shout out to all of my people who are part of the Patreon. And shout out to my moderators. Shout out to all of y'all. But seeing this thing with Wendy, it was sad. It was sad, especially because the opening, I don't want to say the opening credits, because they weren't credits, but in the first 2 minutes of the situation, she stumbles in, right? Wendy stumbles in. Okay. And she stumbles in and she says, I'm glad that I'm free of the Wendy Williams show. I can show my breasts. Can I show you? The producer said no. So she literally walks in, she stumbles in, she hits a piece of equipment. She like almost like hits the wall and stumbles in. And says, I'm so glad I'm free of the Wendy Williams show. I can show my breasts. Can I show you my breasts? The producer is like, no. And when the producer said no, she stuck her middle finger up and flipped them the bird. Like, damn, she just wanted to show her titties to somebody so bad. Now she's so mad, she's sticking her middle finger up. I was baffled. This is within the first 120, the first 300 seconds of the damn documentary. Oh my gosh, it was so hurtful to see her. And I understand that sometimes people of a certain age who are living with certain ailments such as dementia and so on and so forth, sometimes they can be a little aggressive. But that was sad. Okay. Wendy didn't even know what a podcast was while wanting one. We're going to do podcasts. We're going to do podcasts. Do we want, like, she didn't even know what a podcast was, but she knew she wanted to do a podcast because she associated a podcast with relevancy. But she doesn't even understand the definition of podcast, nor is she in the condition or the mind, right, or the right mental state to even do a podcast. Extremely erratic, right? One thing that Wendy says a lot of times is, from 6 years old, all I knew is I wanted to be the center of attention. The producer said, well, you got it. Wendy said, of course. I find that to be a little problematic. I want to touch on that later. I want to touch on that later. I find that personally to be problematic. But of course, Wendy didn't understand, or she didn't know about this early. If there's anybody who cares, to drop this in the comments later to remind me about how and why this is problematic. I know exactly why this is problematic, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on that talking point. I want to review the documentary in its entirety. Because I'm like, what's your goal outside of wanting to be famous or wanting to be the center of attention? And really, I think the main question here, I think the main question tonight for everybody, and this is something that everybody is talking about, is Wendy Williams' current state of affairs in her health, her physical health, her mental health. Is this karma or is this just old age? I think that is the question of the night. And I'm curious to know what you all think. Is Wendy Williams and this bizarre state of dementia and everything else, is this karma or is this just old age? And is any and everybody subjected to the probability of being exposed to this? Put a 5 in the chat if you think that Wendy Williams' current health is karma. Put a 6 in the chat if you think it's just old age. Put a 5 in the chat if you think that Wendy Williams suffering this way, her health, the way she's talked about other celebrities. Put a 5 if you think that this is karma. And put a 6 if you think, no, this is not karma. This is just old age and anybody can become susceptible to this. A 5 if it's karma. A 6 if it's just, nah, anybody can come across this. I see more 6s than anything. Interesting. A 5 if you think it's karma. A 6 if you think it's old age and anybody can become susceptible to this. So, in part 1, Wendy Williams talks about how her sister wants her to stop drinking. Her sister's name is Wanda. Wendy sees no issue in the alcoholism with her sister. When it comes up, Wendy's eyes are bulging the entire time. Okay, I already showed you all that image. It's definitely cringy, creepy, sad. It's certainly cringy, creepy, sad. And seeing Wendy Williams in the flesh, in denial about her alcohol abuse, also being shown that on the iPad, she was asked if there was anything that she noticed about like a flashback moment. She was completely lost about it. She was completely lost. The wigs, the wardrobe, Wendy Williams just, as far as ever being back on television the way she quote unquote wants to be, I just don't see it happening. And that's not because I want the worst for her. Like I will give her flowers. She has done a lot for anybody behind a microphone, even men behind microphones. She's done a lot, but she's got to be realistic and prioritize her health over just the desire of wanting to be on television, right? Shout out to Hey Miss Parker for the $10 super chat. Abuse can cause dementia, but the timing of how she is rapidly declined and how Denmark has done her and the conservator control, it's living like Michael Jackson. I really question the rapid decline. Yeah, a lot of people do question the rapid decline, and a lot of people are wondering, are they intentionally, did they give her something to make her, like what a lot of people really suspect, that they are keeping her in an induced state, so that they can get what they need to get paycheck wise. And I'm gonna get to it because unfortunately, Wendy is surrounded by enablers. And I do want to hear what you all have to say. Shout out to Turkey Bacon for renewing their membership. And also, oh snap. All right. And shout out to Hey Miss Parker for also renewing their membership. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. All right, let us go ahead and continue with what's going on. Okay. So Wendy is having issues with her sister because her sister wants her to stop drinking. And a lot of times when you're dealing with somebody with some sort of addictive issue, if there's somebody that's keeping it real with them, they might, have an issue with the person that's keeping it a buck. So let me see the notes that I took. Seeing herself in denial about her alcohol issues, being shown that on the iPad, she was asked if there's anything that she noticed about the flashback moment. So they were showing Wendy moments of her, um, being angry and being in denial. And she was kind of in denial that the denial was an issue, if that makes sense. Like you're showing somebody video footage of them being in denial about something that is actually an issue. And that's kind of where Wendy was. Wendy got to the point where she said, quote, "Please, I'm famous, fuck you," end quote. Ma'am, that's a lot. Um Graves' disease. The thing is, Wendy has been diagnosed with so many different things. And, when it comes to addressing her health conditions, you've got the Graves' disease, you've got the thyroids, you got the lymphedema, you've got the prefrontal dementia, you've got the aphasia. There's so many different things that it's a lot. It's a lot, right? That she has. So somehow miscarriages came up. And the reason why she values her son Kevin so much is because she had a series of different miscarriages before she had Kevin with Kelvin Hunter. And then there were some parts where Wendy was actually very coherent. Um, there were flashbacks from 2009 interviews. There was a point where Wendy Williams actually said, "Oh, your bitch had a baby," like knew that Kelvin was cheating with, Sharina Hudson. And it's kind of almost like she was okay with the cheating, but once she got pregnant, she was like, "Oh, what, your bitch had a baby? Okay, well, it's time to file a divorce." And that was that. Um Also, Wendy Williams' nephew was a part. And listen, has everyone hit thumbs up on the video yet? Has everybody taken a moment to hit thumbs up? How do y'all feel? Are y'all looking forward to calling in? I think I'm actually going to drop. I'm going to drop the link right now so that y'all can get in line to call in. Before I continue. All right. So Wendy Williams' nephew, he was a little cute, yo. He was a cutie too. But he said, if you look at the decline of my aunt, it happened after the divorce. I'm not the biggest fan of my uncle, but he was making sure that she showed up on time, sober, and ready to work. Her doing the show is half the battle. Going to the show is the real battle, is what Wendy's nephew had to say about the situation. So, um, listen, if you want to call in and speak your piece, definitely feel free to do so. I've dropped the link. July 2021 questions. Wendy was experiencing a lot at this time. And so I took notes based on July of 2021. Wendy Williams had psychiatric care issues, hospital issues, doctor care issues, brain fog, hallucinations, memory loss. It took her a while to process the fact that her show was being canceled. One of the producers that was filming the documentary said, "When do you like to drink?" Wendy said, "When I want to." So knowing full well that she has an entire drinking problem, it was given exploitation. It really much, it was given exploitation. And Kevin came up and said, well, I've been someone who's been on camera. So being in this has never been my thing. But I feel like the whole idea of what this was supposed to be about is supposed to be about her getting better. And that's why I wanted to participate in this documentary. Mind you, this is still part one notes. He had last seen her 8 months prior because Wendy had become estranged from her family because the guardianship and whatever the guardianship had going on, Wendy could make outgoing calls to them, but they couldn't make calls to her. So they not only did they not know what facility she was in or where she was to even make an in-person visit, but they didn't even know what she was diagnosed with either. And so Wendy doesn't remember where she was born. Okay, so I made a note of how she doesn't remember where she was born. A street named after her, but she couldn't even really quite remember the street named in her honor. She couldn't remember where she was born. I do remember that. Wendy's, okay, she had a lot of cash just laying around in clear view. And my whole thing was Will enabling her? I do feel like Will was enabling her. Will is her current quote unquote manager. Anybody else watch it? Will is her quote unquote manager. And Will started off as her jeweler that turned into her manager. And it seems that he's very much enabling her. as she speaks about wanting to do a podcast, um, and being ready to do a podcast, he's like, she's ready. How could she not be ready to do it? She is absolutely not ready to do a podcast. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're just trying to get money off of her. I don't think that Will has her best interest at heart. I really don't. And neither does Sean. Sean started off as somebody that was her PR agent, and now is, and Sean is a woman, mind you. So, and also the way that Sean talks to, I'm sorry, the way that Will talks to Wendy is like, it's quite crazy. It's quite crazy. So I know that there are some mixed feelings, mixed thoughts, mixed reviews on her son. But as opposed to the people who were around her in the videos that I've shown you all from her attorney before, when she was under the care of her son, before she was under the care of the guardianship that she's in right now, it really does seem that she was under better care when she was with her son. It really does. It really does.
See a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy?
Oh my God, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to sit down again. I have no money. And I'm gonna tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
Did you drink this whole thing today?
Keep it there.
Okay.
Just keep it there.
People around who are yes people and allowing this to continue.
This is all too much. No idea where we are. This doesn't look like anything familiar.
I think she's losing memory. Have you guys noticed that?
How dare him? I control me. My life.
Right now, she's weak and vulnerable, and she needs to be around people who aren't going to take advantage of that.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
And I like the company I keep there. And I do what I can. I do what I can.
I see you looking real healthy now.
Please, Kevin, please.
Yeah, but you also like how it's really private, because I know you like gyms if they're private, of course.
Yeah, I like it. And I also like food, which is why I've got to keep on my routines with going to the gym, you know?
Yeah. And like, how have you been eating? Like, because everyone that looks at you, you have beautiful skin. Like, people want to know what's the secret.
Thank you. I'm not giving you points for saying that to me. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm trying.
No, but it's I was born.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
So, people might have things to say about her son and how much he may or may not have spent, but she was in better health when she was under the care of her family down in Miami with her son, so on and so forth. But this whole thing is just sad. It really is. It does seem as though her son, Kevin, has her best interest. It seems that he is, but I do have some pushback though. Her son, Kevin, really seems to have her best interest. He's worried about her drinking and smoking each and every day. And, worried that it is, it's self-sabotage. And to be quite honest, in a whole nother instance, the producer ends up asking Wendy, why do you like liquor? Like, Why do you like to drink? Wendy says, because I can. The producer says, when you have a drink, like, what do you just have it just to have it? Or is it because you're stressed out? Is it because you're bored or what? And Wendy says, no, just because I care for it. And I've always been bored. So I think that Wendy's guardians definitely need to be at a point where they are always keeping her entertained. As with anything that people enjoy when they are bored, when their mind isn't stimulated. An idle mind is the devil's workshop. Have y'all ever heard that when y'all was a kid? Throw a quick 9 in the chat if you ever heard that when you was a kid. And I do, and that's one thing I was told. My mind has to stay busy, and that's why I create content. If my mind is not occupied, I ain't no good. But I'm not out here doing crack. But an idle mind is the devil's workshop, and it seems like Wendy just wants to be constantly busy. And it's got to be something outside of show business. Prior to, it was show business. It was show business for Wendy because she was on TV and she had her own show on syndicated television for 14 years. And prior to that, she had radio stuff going on. But outside of when you're not on syndicated television anymore, what is it that can keep your mind busy so that you don't feel like you have to indulge in crazy or ridiculous substances? What is it? I think that her guardians have a lot on her hand. The guardianship system does seem to be slightly broken. She is up for, I kind of want to say like renewal. She does have, there's going to be a court date this year where they are going to be reconsidering who is going to be her guardian. So it's either going to remain the person that was appointed by the courts, or they might take into account some family members that are willing to take on Wendy. Only time will tell, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, this is a really sad situation. I was extremely heartbroken by watching this documentary. I do want to get into telling you a bit of how I felt about part 2 pertaining to Wendy Williams and everything we saw and everything we didn't see, to be quite honest. So let's go ahead and get into that. And listen, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of the celebrity updates and Black news.
It's time to face it, boo. Your product needs more exposure. If you want to see your ad here on my channel, be sure to shoot an email over to yt.theplainestjane@gmail.com and let's chat. But if you're new in my neighborhood here on YouTube, hey, I'm the Plainest Jane, and I provide coverage and commentary on trending stories, viral events, and Black culture. I definitely appreciate you stopping through and hitting that subscribe button if you'd like more of my particular brand of syrup.
It was a YouTuber, and shout out to her for this good detective work, honey. She's the one who went and was able to put 2 and 2 together. The Plainest Jane. That's the person's name, the Plainest Jane. I couldn't think of what their name was on the podcast, but I wanted to go ahead and shout them out. They're the ones who did the work. All right. So, like I said, shout out to Plainest Jane. She's the one who put that together. So Shekinah was not lying. So when Tiny came back on some, oh, she's making it up, sounded like Tiny's voice to me.
All right. And so we are back. All right. So part 2, as we talk about Wendy Williams and the Where is Wendy Williams documentary, the fact that Wendy Williams wanted to release this, there's so many different ways we can go about feeling about it, right? She wants people to be more in more of an understanding state of accepting the different diseases that she is or ailments, should I say, that she is living with. It's a lot. So, okay, part 2. As I was telling you in the beginning of this video, her father was more coherent than her. And that says a lot. For her father to be 92 years old, right? And for her to be over her dad's house and to be spurting out sentences like, Dad, this is what I want to do. This is what I want. And he's looking at her and processing what is and what is not making sense with his daughter. You know what? Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and 33 years apart. He's 92. She's 59. They are 33 years apart. So he was 33 when she was born. And to sit there and listen to your daughter, your baby girl, like not make any sense, it's got to be hard. I can only imagine. Like because there were points where she wasn't making any sense, and it's like, what can you say? Like, what can you say when you're any loved one that is around you is suffering or living with dementia? All you can say is, oh, okay. For your 93-year-old father to be accepting that you aren't in your right mind and you're 59 has got to be a whole nother world of WTF, right? But also, Wendy's niece comes into the picture, right? And I'm covering this in the most respectful way that I can, okay? Wendy's niece comes into the picture. Production ends up asking her to take a look into Wendy's refrigerator. Her niece says, no, I don't want to look in the refrigerator. And production says, well, the refrigerator's empty. There's nothing in the fridge. Your aunt's not. Like, that was a very emotional moment for the situation, right? The way that Will was talking to Wendy was definitely very foul. He was yelling at her, hollering, screaming. It wasn't right. It was not right. I get it. She might need some tough love. She might need whatever, but it probably needs to come from her family and not you, because you're benefiting. You technically, by definition, you're a jeweler. You're a jeweler. You turned yourself into a manager when you noticed that Wendy was without a manager. You're an enabler. You're a user. You're a mooch. So like, Will, like I'm not here for you in your mess. Like, I'm not. However, I did notice that Wendy was vaping all the time. She was vaping a lot. Like this 59-year-old woman is just like vaping. And I'm like, she's vaping all the time. Which was crazy. And so I did also notice that one of her assistants, Sean, who was supposed to be her PR person, became her assistant / in the middle manager. But Sean is also an enabler. Sean is a horrible PR person as well. Sean took Wendy out to LA without letting Will, even though I don't like Will or her guardian or anybody know. She didn't let anybody know anything. She just took Wendy out to LA. And so now Will is yelling and he's screaming at Wendy, at Sean, at everybody. And then you have Wendy's nephew talking about work versus recovery, which I think was a very made a lot of sense, because it's a matter of, are y'all trying to push her to do these meetings, or y'all acting like she's fit enough to do these meetings and she's not? And she shouldn't even be focused on the meetings. She should be focused on recovery. Like, why should you? I want to be on TV. And y'all are like taking her to these meetings. And her whole mindset when she gets to the meeting is, I'm going to show my feet. Like, she's not even in her right mind state to even be at these meetings. Like, hello. But, okay. Now we have the conversation with Blac Chyna, aka Angela White. It was even more touching and emotional than the clip that was shown, that I showed earlier. I would show it again, but child, they tried to copyright strike me for it, so I won't show it again. But Wendy took her own wig off. I was wondering. Wendy started off the conversation with Blac Chyna. She started it off with her wig on, and then they got in the middle of the conversation, and Wendy, she just completely ripped her wig off. She took it off, and that's kind of like what I was telling y'all before. Sometimes people get tired of trying to portray themselves as something that is perfect or acceptable in the world. It is what it is. But, nonetheless, I did notice that Wendy had extreme cognitive issues. I noticed that while Wendy was at the table with her family, and the second part of, somebody had ordered some wine. Somebody had ordered some red wine, and it came to the table, and her nephew was like, wait a minute, who ordered this? Who ordered this wine? No, don't. And instead of sending the wine all the way back, they decided, okay, I'll drink the wine. And then there was another piece of glass of wine that was coming. And so then her son had it. So it's like her son and her nephew had a glass of wine while she was watching. And Wendy was like, well, I want some. Right, because people are drinking wine right in front of her face. And I just, I don't know. I just kind of shout out to your folk 3 for the super chat. I just felt like drinking wine in front of her face, and with Wendy being able to say, I want some, instead of being like, no, let's send this back. We don't want this. They drank the wine in front of her face. I just felt like that was a little... Because who knows how that affected her triggers, right? She wanted some wine. Y'all didn't give her any wine while she was there. Okay. Let's just say she goes back home tonight. I saw people drinking wine tonight. I want to live. You know, I don't know. Like that. It was just strange business to me. For them to be drinking the wine in front of her face instead of just sending it back, you know, knowing how extreme her issues are. But you know, it was a very difficult night. This was the same night that Wendy Williams called her brother Tommy Kevin. So she literally looked at her brother and thought that her brother was her son. She called her brother Tommy Kevin. She was extremely incoherent. She purchased her son the wrong gifts. She went to the Dior store and purchased a couple of gifts for her son, but the gifts that she purchased for his son were for women. They were women's clothes. She ended up admitting, Wendy Williams ended up admitting to being lonely, so much so that she said that she enjoyed the camera crew filming the documentary because it kept her from being alone. And Kevin says that he thinks that the alcohol helped induce the dementia that his mother is experiencing. So there's a lot happening here. For real. It's a lot happening here. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I want to see. Honestly, here's what I'll say. I'm going to drop the link for you all to call in. If you call in, good for you.
It's Pam. Pamela James. Girl, Girl, you have got to tell me about your night last night.
Same mess. Time and time again. What the fuck?
It's crazy, man. It's like women after women. Draws after draws, dog. GTD. Yeah.
You shouldn't give up so easily, Pam. Huh. You never know. You might find something that's forever. Like me and my Martin.
Like Martin?
You know what? I'm worried about her. I want to see her with someone special. She deserves that.
I'm the love doctor, Tommy. All right. Sometimes love is right where you never expect it. Sometimes love's in your face.
You know what, Pam? Search our whole life looking for a friend. Soulmate.
But Tommy, we can't do this. We're friends.
But what if we gain so much more?
We can't tell Martin and Gina about this.
Is something different?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Something is up. I know when my girl is hiding something from me.
Tommy, what are you doing here?
Came to bring these here.
I'm the happiest I've ever been.
I'm happy for you, Pam. But what about Cole?
Girl, so what? Everybody hates Cole.
I'm telling you better. Girl, he's not so bad. You gotta figure out a way to tell him. Everybody better beware. Girl, something is wrong.
Get out my face!
Get your ass up, Cole.
Do you even know if Tommy has a job? What does he do for a living?
Why can't you ever tell me the truth, Tommy?
Look, Pam, you don't need to know everything.
Then I can't trust you. What are we doing?
Do you know how exhausting it is for everybody to see me as a joke? I'm sick of this shit.
I don't know what he's gonna do.
I don't know what he's gonna do, Pam.
Season 5. Tommy, what the fuck does this even mean?
We boys, right?
We always gonna be boys.
It's Pam. Pamela James.
All right, and we are back, and we do have a caller. Let's go ahead and get to our caller. Listen, y'all, drop y'all pancakes down below. We're going to get into our caller for the evening. Let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, wait, it didn't. Oh, wait a minute.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy.
All right. Hey, what are your thoughts on this?
Hey, Jane. Hey, Stickies. Pancake Posse. We all in the house. Good to be here.
Yes. We are here.
Yeah, so I just want to say I was like kind of half watching Wendy and halfway working, but overall what I got from it, I don't feel like they put this out to exploit Wendy. I feel like Wendy is missing the spotlight. That was very obvious. Like throughout the whole documentary, she kept being like, oh, are we going somewhere? Are there going to be famous people? Like, she's not a celebrity. Like, she was just really outside looking like a fangirl, just looking for anybody famous or looking for anybody to recognize her so that she could feel famous. She's missing that spotlight. You know, that is a adrenaline rush to be in front of an audience and everybody's clapping and cheering. And she worked so hard to get that and maintain that for it to be just snatched away from her. So I feel like she was in her right mind at some point and she greenlit this project so that people could see exactly what is happening to her, because we haven't really seen her. We don't know what's going on. So I feel like this was her way of letting people know, like, they got me. I'm not good. I can't control my money. I don't know that if something were to happen, what's going to happen to my son? Are they going to make sure he's taken care of? Like, she is heavy on her right now. So she's still in there, but I feel like they could be drugging her. They're not doing what they need to do to keep alcohol away from her. That would definitely help the situation to not progress as rapidly as it seems to be progressing. But I do kind of feel like the network, if they're not fully responsible for it, Debmar Mercury or whatever it's called, they had a big hand in it, because I'm sure it was them that had her in the sober living, and they were doing everything to try to hide it, make sure she was good just to be on camera. Even when she did fall out with the Statue of Liberty crown on her head, they gave her some water, put a fan on her, and marched her right back out on the stage. You know, they weren't really concerned with her well-being. They were only concerned with what she could produce. She went through a lot of trauma, miscarriages, losing her mom, losing her husband very publicly. They didn't let her take a break for any of that. She didn't have a chance to mentally regather herself and face her show. She just turned to the substances, and I don't know if it's too late for what she had, because it isn't like a regular Alzheimer's or dementia. They were saying, I saw something, I'll have to try to find a clip, but it was a news clip and a doctor was explaining what she was diagnosed with. And basically they were saying that it wasn't correlated with alcohol use. So it could be correlated with Graves and whatever else that she has going on. But they said that the particular diagnosis, I can't remember, frontoaphasia, or I can't remember what it's called, but I'm gonna find that and put it in the Discord. But they were saying that it wasn't related to alcohol use. So I don't know. I just feel like it's something fishy going on, that they took control of her money like that in the first place. And for them to be keeping her away from her family and just in control of her, staff, is something weird going on. I don't trust it.
Yeah, I think that with when it comes to her, she's had this I think that Wendy Williams, you got some people who gossip about others so much that when they feel like when it's my turn to be up on the chopping block, it's fair game.
No, and she did. She said that she, when she was going through everything with her husband, she put it up on her show, even, admitting to being in sober living and everything. She isn't one to hide her downfalls, I guess we could say. And that's why I think, that they're not exploiting her by putting this documentary out. I feel like she really did want people to see her and want people to see what it is she's going through. I also believe that, in her mind right now, she feels like the documentary could be a step towards her getting another show. I don't feel like, coming from the network perspective, that it's going to be a good idea. But I feel like in her mind, she feels like, okay, I'm going to put out this documentary and some kind of way I'm going to get control of my money, or at least get it so that her son could be in control of her money, and she would be happy with that.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Mm. I'm not even sure if I can even.
Not as hard, but it's just like, looking at Wendy, you could tell it's not the same Wendy. I was, because I was definitely one of those people when I first saw the the clip with Miss Angela. I'm like, why they didn't put Wendy's wig on her? Like, Wendy would never just be out on camera without her wig. But it was a real moment. She said before she took that wig off, she was like, I have two makeups, or I wear two makeups. And then she took that wig off and she was like, that's my makeup, or that's my other makeup, or whatever she said. And it was just like, she took that wig off so she could look Angela in her face and have a real moment with her. And it was kind of like, unmasking, I guess, if you will. So Wendy is in a vulnerable state. She's not happy. And I feel like she put this out because she wants attention. Because ever since the whole thing started going on with her money, I just always felt like something was not right with that. It's basically like the same way that they did Britney. So it's like they could be keeping Wendy drugged up, and that could be enhancing this state that she's in. You never know how they do people. And they did her dirty with that show. They didn't even let her know that they were not planning on letting her return to her own show. They just gave her show away. It's definitely giving the handlers keeping Wendy where they want Wendy to be. But I don't know if she could make a comeback, just because she is heavily in denial about her drinking. Like, when they were asking her, oh, did you eat breakfast? And he's like, oh, I see some coffee. Oh, is that a mimosa? Is that all you had? That's a big mimosa. And it was like, it looked like an empty glass next to a mostly full glass. And she's just like, don't worry about it. She has to want to get her health back on track as much as she wants to be famous. Like, she doesn't want to be forgotten. She wants to be back in the spotlight, but it's like she can't understand that she needs to be sober in order to make that happen.
That's the fucked up part about Hollywood.
Yeah, it is.
Hollywood is just like, can you show up? Can you do it? I don't care if you do it with a line of Coke, with 8 shots of vodka this morning, or whatever the case is. Can you do what we need you to do? And
exactly.
Fortunately, with this being the Hollywood, and however she found her way into it, it came with a little bit of like substance abuse, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's Wendy never lied about that. She was a party girl. So I could still see her dabbling, and I could still see her enablers enabling that. Because even when she was like in the sober living, she's still going out every day, going to work. I'm pretty sure nobody was monitoring what she was drinking or what she was intaking while she was at work. So I don't know. I feel bad for Wendy. It's 59. I don't know what the typical onset age is for, dementia, but I feel like it's not 59.
Right. Yeah. It's early. Like I said, if you're 59 talking to your dad who was 92, and
Right.
your dad is at more of a level-headed space who was 92.
Yeah, because even wasn't her mom like in her 80s when she passed?
Mm-hmm. So it's like you're talking to your pops who is almost 100 years old.
Right.
He's more cognizant and more
mobile
than you are, and he's like literally watching his baby girl deteriorate. It's like that has got to be it's seeing the look on her dad's face through watching the thing, and it was like wow. There was so many things that were like wow watching Wendy Williams documentary, but she's I wonder if she realizes how not okay, how not present she is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think she does. Just like the clip where she was on the she was standing on her star on Hollywood Boulevard, and a couple people went up to her to take a picture, and they were asking her, if she was going to come back, and she had on that hot pink t-shirt with the little short shorts and the Gucci tights, and she was like, yeah, because when I was on the Wendy Williams show, I used to dress like the Wendy Williams show, but when I do the Wendy show or whatever she was calling it, like, I'm going to dress like this and they're going to love it, like, when they see me. And I was just thinking, like, oh my God, Wendy girl, like, the Wendy Williams show will roast this Wendy that's standing on this Hollywood Walk of Fame right now, girl. So that something is kind of missing, but I don't know. She always did like the short shorts. So maybe that is her. That's how she really feels. But it was just sad because it's like she's talking about herself in the third person. And then isn't Hunter her married name?
Yes.
Because she kept saying, I'm Wendy Hunter. I want to be Wendy Hunter. And it's like, girl, you're not supposed to want that. We don't want him no more. So you could tell like that man really broke her.
She remembered that he was broke though. That's the thing.
Yep, he ain't got no money. He ain't even got her money no more. So yes, he ain't got no money, but she still wants to be Wendy Hunter. And that is one of the saddest things for me. Like, I just bop Kevin and Sharina because they ain't have to do that to Wendy. And it's kind of like with, her husband or the ex-husband, it's kind of like, no, we don't trust him because we see what he did. But at the same time, I still kind of feel like he wouldn't have let that happen to her if he was still around. Well, I guess if he was still around, he would have been the one doing the exploiting. But Wendy was still doing what she needed to do when her marriage was, not a public mess or a joke. So I just feel like Wendy went through a lot and she didn't have the right people around her to keep her grounded and sober enough to maintain, her level of fame. And she just does not want to be forgotten. She's not going to let it go. I feel like even as it progresses, she's still going to remember, like, I'm trying to get back to my purple chair.
I hope she don't remember it too much.
I don't know. Unless she's able to get some, and it's just like, I don't even know what kind of project that she could do in the state that she's in. There's even a podcast, like when she was talking to Angela, it was just like, did she even really know who she was talking to,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see her being able to do much of anything at this point. Like, I don't know. I don't, she would have to be able to hold a conversation. I don't think she would be able to remember any lines. I mean, I hope that she would be able to read off a teleprompter or something, but I just feel like her attention wouldn't stay on that. But maybe if we could get a sober Wendy, her mind would be a little bit more clear. And, I don't know. But I feel like whatever it is, I got to look and see exactly what it is that she was diagnosed with. But I don't think that there is a cure for it. And I think it's the same thing that they said Bruce Willis has.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And that's sad too, because I like me some Bruce Williams.
Not Williams. Willis.
Bruce Willis. Oh, everybody his last name Williams with the with the diagnosis. Oh goodness. Oh yeah, aphasia and frontotemporal dementia. So yeah, they said that wasn't. But then her son did say before they came out with this diagnosis, which is another red flag for me. Her son said that, some years ago, they said that it was the alcohol that was causing the dementia symptoms before they diagnosed her with this. So it's just like, I don't know which one to believe. I would tend to believe the doctor, but, you know how they do in Hollywood. They'll say it's one thing just to make it look better than what it really is.
Yeah, I did see something that said that it was alcohol induced. I did see that, but that's her son. And so I can't say that what his son is saying isn't true.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. It's like, I don't really know which one to believe. Is it the, brain damage due to alcohol consumption or overconsumption? Or is it just something that would have happened regardless of if she was drinking or not?
Okay, so we have a new caller in. Let's go ahead and get that.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy.
What are your thoughts?
Anytime I hear guardianship at this point, just in general, I automatically think exploitation. I don't care. It's always a sketchy situation for me. So that is always a red flag. But alcoholism is literally a disease, And if she doesn't realize that she needs to stop, she doesn't get to that point. They put her in sober living and all kinds of other things to try to get her to stop drinking. She doesn't feel like it's a problem. She's going to continue to do it. But this documentary definitely gave exploitation to me because it just felt unnecessary. A lot of people have been wondering where she is, but did they need to show her in this light? I don't know. It felt wrong to me. And yeah, it brought to light a lot of the things that are going on around her. But at the same time, it was just sad to watch the decline. And it felt like, she's bringing in checks when she had her show, all these things. Somebody wanted a check. Somebody wanted to get some money off of this. And it just felt exploitative to me. I didn't like it.
Yeah, they said too, like she had a deal with Lifetime.
That's, my opinion. I mean, I do feel like her husband did kind of keep her kind of reined in a little bit more, or her ex-husband. But it didn't feel right to me.
No, it didn't, because it's just really hard to see somebody decline, especially that fast. Like, we're not used to that from, especially from a celebrity. But they did say that she had a deal with Lifetime for like a specific number of projects, and that this was basically, her last obligation under that contract. So I don't know, but I still feel like Wendy being Wendy, she's gonna try to do something to get back in the spotlight.
Are you still there, ma'am?
I think she's on mute.
Ma'am, are you there?
I guess she was done talking. I don't know.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh.
For some reason, the audio went out, so I couldn't hear you guys. So I was trying to tune in on my TV girl so I could hear what you guys were saying at the same time.
Damn, she dropped off. Ain't there something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's hard to see Wendy go through this because, we expected to see Wendy on that purple couch for, at least another good 8 years or so. We weren't expecting her to just disappear like this, and neither was she. That's one thing that's obvious. She didn't expect to have her show snatched out from under her like that. I feel like she was embarrassed. She turned to the wrong things, and the wrong people were able to get power over her. But I don't know how they would go, like, how would they go about fighting this? Because I feel like, it's a lot for her son. Isn't he only like 21? So he doesn't really know, how to go through the courts and fight for guardianship over his mom. But I feel like that's what needs to be done. Somebody needs to be fighting for it, because the people who are in control over her are just letting her continue to go downhill. They're not, when you show that clip of her when she was in Florida, Wendy looked good. She looked healthy. She didn't look frail. She was coherent. She was able to speak in sentences. So, it's obviously something different from her being with her son to her being with whoever she's with right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to watch.
It is.
Oh, what happened? Oh, okay, there you go. I'm like, did I do something? What happened?
Child, don't even. It is time for us to go ahead and get it on up out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here.
Yes, well, good night. The bus ride was wonderful as usual. We gonna pray for Wendy.
Yes, we have to.
That's all we could do is just pray for Wendy, and hopefully, at least we can get somebody to take care of her and not let her continue to deteriorate,
Yeah, we can try.
Okay, well, good night. I'm gonna let you go ahead and close out your show, and I will see you on the next one.
All right, I'll see you then. You have a good night.
All right, bye, Stickies.
Bye.